The silence in the control room of the Orion Ascendant was deafening. Star charts stretched across the screens, the entire galaxy laid out in cold, precise coordinates. And yet, amidst all the data, something was wrong. One small, almost imperceptible glitch, a faint flicker on the map, a missing world. A single dot, once glowing with the pulsing light of a thriving planet, had vanished. This was no accidental error, it was deliberate. And something, had hidden it. Captain Reza Karimi sat rigidly in his chair, his hands steepled together, as his dark eyes locked onto the map. His brow furrowed, tracing the line of missing stars. There was no record of this planet in any of the databases, no history of exploration, no mention of its existence. Yet his instincts told him this was something more significant than just an anomaly. The absence of the world felt deliberate. "Captain, we have a situation." Lieutenant Juno Varick's voice cut through the silence, sharp with urgency. Reza didn't need to ask what it was, he already knew. The data stream she was transmitting to his console confirmed his worst fears. A world, one that had been part of the galaxy's oldest star map, was simply gone. Vanished without a trace. "We should have found something," Juno continued, her voice tinged with disbelief. "A world this large, this populated, shouldn't just disappear. Especially not without anyone noticing." "You're right," Reza said, leaning forward, his fingers brushing over the glowing interface. "The map is ancient. It's been passed down for centuries, used by every generation of explorers. The moment we found it, we thought it would finally reveal the answers we've been searching for. But now—" His voice trailed off as he scanned the star map again, willing himself to find something, anything that could explain the disappearance. "Do we know where it was?" Juno asked. "It was in the Kelrith Expanse," Reza replied. "But now it's just gone." The Kelrith Expanse was an area of deep space that even the most seasoned navigators avoided. It was infamous for its turbulent energy fields and gravitational anomalies. Still, it had always been charted, always marked on the oldest of star maps. The world that had once lived in this region was now an enigma. "Any survivors?" Juno asked, voice softening. "None," Reza said flatly. "And no distress signals, no black box transmissions. Nothing." The silence in the room deepened, the weight of the situation pressing heavily on them both. The crew was seasoned, used to danger, but this was something they hadn't prepared for. To lose an entire world, without warning or explanation, was unheard of. But Reza knew this wasn't just about a missing planet, it was about something far bigger. "Captain, we need to find out who did this. Someone or something erased this world from history, and I doubt it was a simple accident," Juno said, her voice firm with the resolve Reza had come to admire in her. Reza exhaled slowly. He knew she was right. The galaxy had its share of threats: pirates, rebel factions, and the ever-looming shadow of the Galactic Syndicate. But erasing an entire world from existence? That required more than just firepower. It required a force capable of manipulating the very fabric of reality itself. "Prepare the ship," Reza said, his voice decisive. "We're heading to the Kelrith Expanse. If there's anyone or anything out there that knows what happened, we'll find them." Juno nodded. "Aye, Captain." As she turned to leave, Reza allowed himself one final glance at the star chart. He had never believed in fate, but in this moment, the absence of that world felt like a cruel cosmic joke, a riddle that demanded an answer. And if it was a message, Reza knew one thing for certain: the universe wasn't done with them yet. The Orion Ascendant drifted through the void, its sleek hull cutting through the blackness like a predator. The silence of space seemed to settle over the ship, amplifying the tension inside. The crew moved like shadows, purposeful, efficient, each of them processing the mission in their own way. But Reza could see the unease in their eyes. This was different. This wasn't a standard retrieval mission or a rescue operation. They were venturing into the unknown, to find something that didn't want to be found. The ship hummed as it entered the outer reaches of the Kelrith Expanse. The energy fields here were erratic, unpredictable. One moment, the stars blinked into view, their light shimmering brightly, and the next, the sky would darken, as if some unseen hand was pulling the stars away from sight. "Captain, we're entering the expanse now," Lieutenant Varick reported from the helm. "Energy readings are spiking. We'll need to recalibrate the shields." "Do it," Reza said, his tone firm. "But make sure to keep the sensors active. Whatever happened to that world, it's out here somewhere. And I want to find it before it finds us." A few minutes later, the ship's sensors began to beep, low and persistent. Reza's fingers hovered over the console, eyes narrowing as he observed the data stream. There it was again, a faint anomaly, just beyond the edge of the expanse. It didn't make sense. There was no world there, no visible anomaly, yet the readings were impossible to ignore. "Captain," Juno's voice crackled through the comms. "We're detecting an object. It's not on the map. It's moving toward us." Reza's pulse quickened. "How big is it?" "Not sure," Juno said, her voice steady, but with an edge of uncertainty. "It's cloaked. Whatever it is, it's using advanced tech." Reza stood up, eyes fixed on the screen. The object was coming closer, undetected by their sensors. But it wouldn't be hidden for long. Whatever secrets lay ahead, Reza knew they were about to uncover them, whether they were ready or not. "Prepare for contact," Reza ordered, his mind already racing through every possible outcome. "This is no ordinary encounter. Keep your eyes open, everyone." And then, as if the universe had been holding its breath, the Orion Ascendant came face to face with the unknown. The Orion Ascendant shuddered as the unidentified object loomed ever closer. Reza Karimi stood at the bridge, his eyes fixed on the data streaming across the interface. It was cloaked, hidden from their most advanced sensors, and whatever it was, it moved with purpose. There was no random drift in its motion. This was no anomaly, this was a calculated presence. "Lieutenant Varick, can we make a visual?" Reza asked, his voice tight but controlled. "Attempting to break through the cloak now, Captain," Juno's voice answered, as calm as ever, though her fingers danced across the controls with a sense of urgency. "Reconfiguring the sensors, increasing power to the optics." The silence on the bridge was thick, oppressive. Reza glanced over to the crew, each person waiting, breathing in rhythm with the ship. No one spoke, and even the hum of the engines seemed muted, as if the entire crew was holding their breath. "Visual coming through now," Juno called, her voice sharp. "Putting it on screen." A flicker. A series of pixels scrambled before the main screen finally revealed a blurry image. A sleek, dark shape, long and serpentine, gliding effortlessly through the void. It seemed almost organic, with shifting contours that didn't make sense in the cold, mechanical world of space. "Is that a ship?" Reza asked, unable to hide the skepticism in his voice. "No," Juno replied after a long pause, her voice uncertain. "It's not like any ship we've encountered before. It's too smooth, too fluid. Almost like it's alive." Reza's eyes narrowed. "Can you get a clearer image?" "I'm trying, Captain. It's almost like it's adapting to our sensors. The more we push, the more it resists." "Adaptive camouflage," Reza muttered. "A ship capable of shifting its structure to blend in with its surroundings. But why go to such lengths?" Juno didn't answer immediately, focusing on the console as the strange object moved closer. The shape remained unclear, but it was now evident that it wasn't just a ship. It was something more, something beyond their understanding. "We should approach with caution," Reza said. "Prepare the crew for a possible confrontation." Juno nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. "Shields up. Weapons on standby." The ship moved silently in the void, the cold expanse of space stretching out infinitely around them. Reza's pulse quickened as he watched the object through the fading distortion. He didn't know what to expect. Was this an enemy? A scout ship? Or was it something far older, something with an agenda they couldn't begin to comprehend? Suddenly, a sharp tone echoed through the bridge, and the object on the screen began to change. The contours shifted again, this time forming a distinct shape. A hatch, No, a door appeared at the side of the alien structure, and the ship slowed, coming to a near stop in front of them. "What the hell is this?" Juno whispered, her voice barely audible. "I don't know," Reza replied, his gaze fixed on the now stationary object. "But I think it's asking us to come closer." "Do we have any other choice?" Juno asked. "No," Reza said, his voice a quiet determination. "Get ready. We'll move in slowly. Prepare a boarding team just in case." Minutes passed like hours as the Orion Ascendant edged closer to the cloaked object. The crew had been trained for emergencies, but no one was prepared for what they were about to face. Every detail, the smoothness of the object, its eerie silence, spoke of a technology far beyond anything they had seen. As they approached, a soft, almost imperceptible hum filled the air. The sensors beeped rapidly as the ship entered the object's gravitational pull, its artificial field gently tugging at their vessel. It wasn't a violent force, but it was a force nonetheless. "Steady," Reza commanded. "Keep it slow. No sudden movements." "Adjusting thrusters," Juno said, her voice focused as the ship slowed to a crawl. "We're getting closer." Reza couldn't tear his gaze from the ship. His mind raced, every thought a flash of possibilities. Why would anyone go through the effort to erase a planet, to remove it from the galaxy's oldest star map? And why now? "Captain, I'm detecting a faint signal." Lieutenant Varick's voice interrupted his thoughts. "It's weak, almost buried beneath the cloak's interference." "Is it a distress signal?" Reza asked, hope flickering within him. "No," Juno replied, voice tense. It's not a distress call. It's more like a directive, an invitation. The coordinates are..." Her voice trailed off as she read the data on the screen. "The coordinates match the location where the missing world was." Reza's pulse quickened. This was no coincidence. "Is it directing us to the planet?" "Yes, Captain. It's a call to come closer. It wants us to follow." A chill crept down Reza's spine. Whatever this object was, it wasn't just random. It had purpose. And it had been waiting for someone to come. "Boarding team, prepare for deployment," Reza ordered, his voice resolute. "We're going in." The air in the bridge felt thick as the crew scrambled into action. The boarding team assembled, their faces grim, yet determined. Reza's hand lingered on the armrest of his chair as he fought to steady his nerves. He had led his crew through countless encounters, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Captain," Juno called, breaking his concentration. "We're at the threshold. The object's energy field is fluctuating. If we get any closer, we may not be able to retreat." "Then we won't," Reza said. "Take us in." The Orion Ascendant gently moved forward, gliding toward the cloaked object. A ripple of light pulsed from its surface, and for a moment, Reza thought he saw a flicker of something, an outline. It was like looking at the faint reflection of a mirror in a dark room, but this reflection wasn't of their ship. It was of the missing world. It was calling them. And this time, there would be no turning back. Reza stood in the ship's airlock, the cold metal surrounding him as he prepared to board the alien vessel. His crew stood with him, silent, their weapons ready. Behind them, the bridge hummed with energy as the Orion Ascendant held its position, waiting for the moment to come. "Let's go," Reza said, his voice steady despite the unknown ahead. The hatch opened with a soft hiss, revealing the darkness beyond. And as they stepped forward, Reza knew that what they were about to uncover would change the fate of the galaxy forever. The airlock hissed closed behind them as Reza led his team into the alien ship. The interior was nothing like any structure they had encountered. The walls were smooth, like polished stone, yet they seemed to pulse with a subtle energy, as if the ship itself were alive. There was no sign of technology in the traditional sense, no consoles, no levers, no buttons. Just an organic architecture, shifting and breathing with the hum of unseen currents. "Stay sharp," Reza said, his voice low. His eyes scanned the dark, undulating walls, alert to any movement. The team followed, their boots making soft thuds as they moved down a long corridor that stretched far beyond their immediate view. This place doesn't feel right, Lieutenant Juno Varick murmured, her voice a mixture of awe and unease. It's like we're walking inside a living organism. Reza didn't respond immediately. He didn't need to. He could feel it too, the weight of something vast, something ancient, pressing in from all sides. This was no ordinary craft. Whatever force had removed the missing world from the star map had brought them here for a reason. But what was it? The team continued onward, the eerie silence of the ship broken only by their footsteps. The corridor began to narrow, and the walls grew thicker, more compact. In the distance, a faint glow appeared, a pulse of light that seemed to beckon them forward. Captain, I think we're getting closer to something, Juno said, her voice tinged with anticipation. Reza nodded. Keep your weapons ready. We don't know what we're walking into. As they approached the source of the glow, the corridor widened, revealing a vast chamber. It was unlike any room on the Orion Ascendant. The floor was covered in a soft, metallic material that shimmered in the light. At the center of the room stood a massive structure, its form shifting as if it were made from liquid metal. The surface rippled and flowed, constantly changing shape. It was beautiful, terrifying, and completely alien. Is that the source? Reza asked, his voice barely a whisper as he took in the sight before him. Juno stepped forward cautiously. It must be. I've never seen anything like it. It's beautiful, in a way, but so wrong. Reza felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He had always believed in the power of the unknown, but this was beyond anything his training had prepared him for. He took another step, his boots silent on the floor, and as he drew closer, the structure seemed to respond. The liquid metal began to swirl, its surface breaking into patterns that almost looked like writing, symbols, ancient and foreign. Captain, look at this, Juno said, her voice rising with excitement. It's a map. A map of the galaxy. Reza's heart skipped a beat. She was right. As the structure shifted, the symbols rearranged themselves, revealing the stars, the planets, the very core of the galaxy. But there was something more, a dark patch. A gap. And within that gap, a small, glowing orb, the same size as the planet that had vanished. That's it, Reza breathed. The missing world. But the map wasn't showing the planet as it was. The glowing orb was now surrounded by a dark haze, as if something had corrupted it, erased it from existence. And in the distance, beyond the dark spot, Reza could see faint traces of stars, stars that should have been there but were now obscured. Who did this? Juno asked, her voice trembling with awe and fear. I don't know, Reza admitted, his mind racing. But we're not just dealing with someone who can erase a planet from a map. We're dealing with someone who can change reality itself. Or someone who has the power to hide things from the universe. Juno replied, her voice hardening. Reza nodded grimly. Exactly. But why? Why hide this world? Before Juno could respond, the chamber shifted again, as if the ship itself was aware of their presence. The walls seemed to fold inward, and the liquid metal structure at the center of the room began to vibrate, sending a low hum through the air. Reza stepped back, instinctively placing a hand on his weapon. The others did the same. Suddenly, the shimmering surface of the structure rippled, and a figure appeared. It wasn't human, not in the conventional sense. The being was tall and elongated, its form fluid and translucent, shifting in and out of view. It had no face, no recognizable features, just a presence that filled the room with a heavy, oppressive energy. The figure's shape distorted, and for a moment, Reza thought it was speaking, though no words reached his ears. Instead, he felt a rush of thoughts, emotions, an overwhelming sense of longing and sorrow. It was as if the being was communicating directly with his mind, bypassing language entirely. What is this? Juno whispered, stepping closer to Reza. I don't know, Reza replied. But it's trying to tell us something. The figure flickered again, and this time, Reza heard a voice, not through his ears, but inside his mind, clear and chilling. You should not have come. The voice reverberated inside his skull, and the force of it nearly brought him to his knees. His vision blurred, and for a moment, he wasn't sure where he was, if this was reality or something else entirely. Get out! The voice continued, a cold, mournful command. Leave this place. The truth is lost here. The world you seek is no more. Captain, Juno said, her voice strained. What is it saying? What does it want? Reza fought to regain his composure, pushing back against the mental pressure. It's warning us. Whatever happened to that planet, this being is tied to it. It's the key. The figure wavered again, its form flickering like a dying flame. You cannot undo what has been done, the voice echoed. Asterisk, the world is lost. The universe must forget. Asterisk. A pulse of energy radiated from the figure, washing over the room like a wave. It was so powerful, so intense, that Reza's breath caught in his throat. He felt his vision narrow, his limbs grow heavy. The truth, whatever the being was hiding, was too much. It was too vast, too overwhelming for any one mind to comprehend. Get out! Reza shouted. Now! He turned, grabbing Juno's arm and pulling her toward the exit. The others followed, but the pulse of energy continued to surge, pushing them back. Reza stumbled, his mind reeling. This was no simple alien encounter. This was a message, a warning. The missing world wasn't just erased. It was erased from the very fabric of existence. And whatever force had done this was still watching. Captain? Juno shouted, her voice panicked. What are we going to do? Reza didn't answer. He didn't know. But one thing was clear, whatever secret the missing world held, they were not meant to find it. And if they did, it would come at a cost too great to bear. As they stumbled back into the airlock, the ship seemed to hum with finality. The being, the map, the warning, they all pointed to something far more dangerous than they had ever anticipated. They had come looking for answers, but now, the truth seemed more elusive than ever. And Reza knew, deep in his bones, that their journey was far from over.